Okay, so once you have finished rendered the entire sequence, now we want to render, okay, as I've shown you in the images sequences here. Okay, so now we have our images rendered. Now over here I'm using another software called Irfan View, which can review Targa files very quickly. So I'll get the TOs to install the Irfan View on all the computers here. So once you got this installed, we want to render another type. We want to render a grayscale image like this. And you can actually render this very quickly using the viewport renderer 2. Now how do I change it from mental ray into this hardware renderer? So I'm going to save this first. Save this scene as, I want to call it _grayscale. Now there's more than one way to do this. You can apply a grayscale material and then you render it through mental ray. Okay, but I'm going to do this very quickly using the hardware renderer. Now if you take a look at the types of renderers available to you, the default is either Maya software, or once you activated mental ray you can use mental ray. However, to do this even faster, we're going to use something called Maya Hardware 2.0. We'll be using this Maya Hardware 2.0 renderer to generate the wireframes as well. So for now, okay, we're going to render at Maya Hardware 2.0, and under the Maya Hardware 2.0 settings, you want to increase the anti-aliasing to make it smooth. So go to the Maya Hardware options, go to the bottom under anti-aliasing and enable smooth wireframe enable and multi-sample anti-aliasing enable. And the sample count, we're going to use the maximum to 16. Right, please ensure that you set it to 16. Right, this will make your render very smooth. In fact, if you take a look at the viewport render right now, it is actually much smoother. Okay, the jagged edges are being smoothed out. We can actually render this through the hardware. What does hardware means? You are rendering it using your graphics card rather than using your CPU. Okay, so once we set the settings, we need to go to common and rename. So the dagger, I'm going to rename the file name prefix, I call it _grayscale. I'm going to render it again as a Targa. Alright, so I'm going to do a test render and see what it looks like. Okay, right now it is still showing the texture. Okay, I need to go back to the render text render settings because I forgot to set one render options here. Okay, the render mode was shaded and textured. I need to change it to shaded. Okay, just simply shaded. Okay, now I'm going to do another test render, and I expect now not to see the textures, and in fact I'm not seeing the textures now. Okay, so that is great, and the render is incredibly fast. Okay, so once I'm done, I'm going to do a batch render. So I'm going to save this scene. So every time before you do a batch render, you save it first. Okay, once you save, go to render and do the batch render. Okay, so I'm going to monitor. The rendering should be quite fast. Okay, once all the data has been loaded into the renderer, then you'll start to render. You can also monitor your rendering by going to the target folder which you are sending the renders to. Okay, it's starting to render. Okay, it's rendering now. So I got a grayscale, I can monitor and see. So this is the grayscale version, and it is very fast. Each frame only took like a couple of seconds. Okay, now I'm in frame 1314. Okay, so I'll stop the video recording and then we'll continue once the render is done.